Hello class, this is Dr. Garvey, and I'm really sorry that I wasn't there this week for class. I got called away on something that's pretty important, so I really apologize. So the first thing to point out is that there is no class next week either. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be working on assignments at that point, and then we'll meet again the following week. So again, no class on January 29th. And then we'll meet again on February 5th, and then we'll be working pretty much very closely for the entire semester on several assignments. So the first thing about this class is that there's an awful lot of assignments and there's a lot of different moving parts. So this class can be very confusing. It's even confusing for me to a certain extent. So what we want to do right now through this PowerPoint is just go over some of the assignments and then talk about the one assignment that will be due in particular on February 5th when we first meet. So I want to make sure that you know that you need to have that done. So the first thing you need to do is look at your syllabus, and that was handed out first part of class. It's also on D2L, so you can get it off of that if you need to. This is your guide, and what you need to do is look at the calendar on that syllabus. Make sure that you're keeping track of all the assignments. There's a lot of in-class and out-of-class types of assignments, and so we just want to make sure that you're keeping track of that. And again, I apologize for all the moving parts, but it is what it is. So the first thing I want to do is to show you sort of little vignettes of what kinds of handouts that we've had so that you know where you're going. So the first thing is look at your syllabus. That has the calendar on it. You've already seen that. The thing that is associated with your syllabus is this assignment sheet, and these numbers correspond to the various assignments that you have in your syllabus. So make sure that you look at this, because this is your guide for what coursework is due on different dates. This is a 1-hour course, and there are a lot of parts to it. Most of this is to orient you to zoology, teach you how to write, and give some presentations so that you'll be prepared by the time you're going through senior seminar and you have a lot of job experience that will allow you to either get a job or be able to get into grad school pretty easily. So I'm not going to go in detail about what kind of assignments that you have, other than the fact that you should take a look at that sheet, because it'll give you guidance as to sort of what you need to be doing for class. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. You can stop by my office either during office hours, which are posted on the syllabus. They're from 9 to 10 on Tuesdays in Life Science 251, or just email me to let me know that you're going to stop by, and I'm usually in my office pretty much all week, so come stop by when you can. So this is kind of a distilled version of your syllabus, and sort of what we're going to go just piece by piece through what we're trying to do for the class. The large overview for your class is that we're trying to get you an idea what kind of jobs and career opportunities are available in the field of zoology. Talk a bit about how to think like a scientist, because zoology ultimately is science, and so you need to understand that we're trying to teach you how to think critically from a scientific perspective so that you can use that towards any career that you decide, whether you end up becoming a zookeeper, somebody working at an aquarium, become a conservation biologist. Some of you might go on to law, run an NGO or something like that, but critical thinking is important. A lot of this class will be over looking at papers and thinking critically about that, but also we're going to go over writing papers. I'm going to review your papers. You'll get drafts. You'll get a lot of feedback from that. And you're also going to be required to give a presentation by the end of the class. So you can see here that there's a whole bunch of dates, and this gives you an idea of what the due dates are. This all corresponds back to your syllabus, and we'll go from there. So the first assignment that will be coming up when we meet again in a couple weeks is what zoology careers, and you need to have this assignment done at the time of class. I would prefer that you hand these things in paper form, unless I ask specifically for something in email. because it gets very confusing if I have to try to do everything electronically. So paper is a good way just to turn it in on the day of class. So first, what is this online job search that we're looking for? I've handed this out. It's also on D2L. This gives you an idea of what the job search exercise will be. We're going to revisit this a little bit later on in this PowerPoint, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on this right now. But just to give you an idea, what you're trying to do is look online, and then I want you to provide me with a one-page document summarizing what kind of search you've done. And so this is just a vignette of the handout that I gave. You can take a look at that and make sure you find that in your packet. On February 12th, we're going to talk about what it means to become a zoologist. And on the first day of class, we handed out an advisement survey. And if you take a look at this, this is the advisement survey. I need you to fill this out and hand it in to me on February 12th. And what I need from you there is this, so that we can try to get you hooked up with a mentor that you're going to be working with as you matriculate through your zoology experience here. So there's several faculty here that do zoology work, and we will be talking a bit about these tracks and where your interests are. If you pick one of these tracks and then you find that you're interested in something else that doesn't lock you into it, you can change your mentor or your track as you're moving through your degree progress here at SIU. And my job is sort of working through these sorts of opportunities. So we'll talk about this a little bit later on in the class notes as well. One thing you're going to have to do is go talk to a faculty mentor once we've assigned him to you. So you hand in this advisement form that you have already. We've already handed this out, or you can get this off D2L. You fill that out, get that to me by February 12th, and then what I will do is send this to the person who's in charge of our zoology mentor program, and they will get you a mentor. Then what you need to do is meet with your assigned faculty mentor and get this form filled out so that you guys have an opportunity to talk to the mentor and get an idea of who they are, and so you can orient to that. You're going to hand that back into me, and that will be very important for your class. As it says here, if you don't return this form, that means you haven't met with your mentor, and you're going to have to retake your entire class. You're going to have to meet with your mentor at least once a semester for the remainder of the time that you're here at SIU, because they're going to be responsible for opening up your registration so that you can register for classes in the next semester. So you need to get to know this person, because they're going to be very important in helping you sort of get through your zoology experience while you're here at SIU. Okay, so so that gives you an idea. We'll talk a bit about the mentors and that sort of thing in a little bit later on. So if you have questions, hold on. I might be able to answer that, or again, email me or stop by when you get the chance. On the 19th, I'm going to require you to have read this paper by a guy named Carl Sagan. Some of you may have heard of him. He was an astronomer. He died a few years ago. He was a very important science communicator. One of the things that those of us who are aspiring to be scientists need to do is to be able to communicate with the public, family, friends, strangers in an elevator about why it's important to be a zoologist, why it's important to be interested in animal ecology. And so this is something that we want you to understand. So this paper by Sagan is all about him trying to say that why we need to use science and be advocates for science, and hopefully you'll get a little bit better idea of why we're going to care about this. There's going to be 2 essays in class that you have to write. This is going to emulate what would be an essay on an exam, and we call these 2-minute essays. Basically what I'm going to do is throw a question at you, and then you're going to have about 2 minutes to write in hand a short essay to answer the particular question that I asked you. This helps you to think on the fly, and be able to organize your thoughts very quickly, and then be able to get me an assignment that gives you an idea that, well, one, it helps me determine whether you actually read the paper or not, but also it's important for you to get a little bit of experience about putting your ideas very quickly into paper, which will eventually translate to being able to present orally as well. So this is the paper. It's up on D2L. I did not hand this out because it's very long. So if you have trouble getting this on D2L, let me know, but it's up there under Sagan, so make sure to look at that. So as you know, the book that I've assigned to you is the Macmillan book. If you don't have it yet, you pretty much should have it. Again, you can order it on Amazon, or hopefully the library has it, or not the library, the bookstore. Make sure that you've got a copy of that if you can possibly get it as quickly as possible. I need you to have, by February 26th, have read that chapter 7 of there, because we're going to talk a lot about scientific writing. And this is going to be very important because you do have a paper that's due later on in the class. And your review paper is basically a 5 or so page review on some aspect of a particular animal that you pick, and it's some aspect of its biology. So we want to go over this in a fair amount of detail. We're also going to talk about going through the literature and being able to get an idea of what the literature is all about, why it's so important to read the literature, and why scientists must publish the work that they do. And what we do for you on that day is an essay on your career aspirations, and I'll show you this in a second. Basically, what we're trying to do is to have you write in what we say was a letter of application, a resume, or sometimes we call it a curriculum vitae or a CV. What you need to do is pretend that you're putting in for an internship or for a job, and that you want to be selected for that. Again, this is to get your thoughts into writing, because this is how you would make an initial contact with a potential graduate advisor, or when you're looking for a job or an internship. This is how you do this. Again, we'll go over this in detail. This has been handed out, it's also up on D2L, and so if you don't have this, make sure that you get a copy of it. Or if you have questions, I'll help you out. Again, we'll talk about this in a little bit more detail later on in the class, but this is a great opportunity for you to get some feedback on sort of what your career aspirations are and how you might be able to get a job. On the 18th, we're going to talk about interpreting a journal article. There's a paper by Durzo et al., which is basically about the conservation threat that we're experiencing right now. As most of you know, we're in a biodiversity crisis. We're experiencing the greatest decline in species diversity on the planet, maybe in the history of the planet in terms of rate. And so this is something that we all need to be very concerned about. And this paper talks about this in a scientific manner. Again, there's going to be a two-minute essay on this one, so make sure you read it before that date, and then we'll talk about it in earnest in class. So on the 25th, your review papers are going to be due, the first draft. Also on that date, those mentor signatures are due that I showed you earlier, so you need to have met with your mentor by that part. So you've got well over a month actually almost 2 months to be prepared for that. So again, you can't do this until you actually get your mentor assigned to you, which I will have to you long before that point, so you can do that. For the review papers, I have given you guidelines for that. Basically, you're going to write a review paper. It doesn't have to be perfect, but your information for this will be coming from what we've talked about in class, and also from the Macmillan book. This is not meant to be arduous or hard. It's just meant to be a really good opportunity for you to start getting your thoughts into a extremely organized and compelling way. And what you'll find is scientific writing is extremely dense and concise, and so what I'll be working on you is to help you write in a dense and concise way. And so be prepared for a lot of red ink on your assignments. Again, we'll be talking about this in more detail as the class progresses this semester. So on April 1st, your drafts of your review papers are going to be due, and I'll make sure that I get those back to you very quickly. And also we're going to be talking about, at this point, what kind of presentations you're going to be giving in the class, which are going to basically be a summary of what you did in your review paper, so that you can learn to give a oral presentation. And again, what we're going to be doing is be prepared for that. I'm going to want your draft slides for your PowerPoint presentations on April 8th, and then the rest of the class, the semester, will be some presentations where we all get together and listen to what we all have to talk about. For the oral presentations, again, we'll be going over this in more detail later on, is the topic that's associated with your review paper, and then you need to be prepared to answer questions and be able to give basically an argument for why your research is important in that talk. So if that wasn't enough work for a 1-hour class, there's going to be even some more stuff that we're going to require to do. Zoology has a seminar series each semester. I have handed that out last class, and also that's up on D2L if you want to take a look at that. So there are zoology seminar series, and you need to attend 2. And then by the end of the semester, I need to have those seminar review forms, and I'll show you those in a minute. You don't only have to go to a zoology seminar. There's other seminars that occur on campus, microbiology, ecology, various other fields, geography, geology. You can attend those, and those will also count as well. I will try to announce those when they come up, but the main ones that you're going to have are the zoology seminars for the semester. So you need to attend those and fill out the seminar review forms to be counted for that. Also, I have participation in the class. For example, I will be checking on D2L whether you've actually looked at this particular PowerPoint presentation so that I'm sure that you have actually reviewed it. If you haven't, I'm going to be very hard on you when you don't participate in the class. So I just want to make sure that you guys are keeping track of all this kind of stuff. So this is the example of the student seminar attendance form, and you can see that you need to fill it out, tell me what you were talking about. I will try to make it to all these seminars as well, so I'll have an idea of what was going on. And again, I want you to make sure that you tell me about what you got out of this and get something out of the seminar. This will also help you prepare for your oral presentations, because you can see what a scientist will do when they give a presentation. This is just an idea of what the student participation rubric is. You'll never see this, but this is something that I will fill out as I'm progressing through the class. I'll be keeping track of whether you're coming to class and that sort of thing. It's all extremely important and part of your, actually a large portion of your grade. So if you have any questions, obviously there's a lot of moving parts to this. Go back to your syllabus, study this, be sure that you're doing this. So for the next class period, again, no class next week, so this will be February 12th, or February 5th, I'm sorry. I need to make sure that you've had an opportunity to dive into job opportunities in zoology. So what I want you to do is do that and then read the Macmillan chapter on this, and go through chapter 1 to sort of what talks about sort of what it means to be a scientist and be good at writing in that. So for the assignment, what you're trying to do is take a look on the web, basically do what anybody would do when they're looking for a job, is to find something that's interesting to you. And then I need for you to tell me in this particular assignment that you get back to me following the assignment rubric that I gave you, is what kind of jobs did you find? What does the biology job market look like right now? And then I want you to give me your general thoughts on the process. And I will be calling on y'all in class to discuss this. And we also will focus on talking about why grad school is so important for folks that want to go on. So this is also an opportunity that if you do find grad school assistantships, this is something that can also fill into this as well. So be sure that you pay attention to whether there are grad school opportunities as well in there. So at the very end of this, and again, I know I'm burning through this really quickly, but again, I just hope that you all are paying attention to this and get this as an opportunity. I need you to get that advisement form back to me so I know who to get you matched up with the right mentor. As a zoology student, not only are you required to do sophomore seminar, but you're also required to do a senior project, and the senior project will be in your senior seminar class. And there, we're requiring you to more or less do another paper that's going to be on either research opportunities that you had while you were here, internship opportunities that you took, or other kinds of experiences that you've had that are associated with your experience at SIU. And yes, a summer job can also apply as long as it was related to a zoology type field. There are several different types of tracks that you can go after here at SIU Zoology, and those are detailed in the form that I gave you. If you take a look here, I don't have that here, but it's a form that I gave you. It's that talks about undergraduate advisement and all the various types of opportunities that you have available to you. So the tracks are animal biology, environmental biology, fisheries and aquatic sciences, a pre-vet, a wildlife biology, and a zoology option. Each one has a certain types of elective courses and required courses that are associated with it. And you know, you can mix or match between these. We're not really hitting too hard on not making you too many different classes that you need to take to do this, but this helps you get an emphasis on this. The animal biology option is just a general opportunity to look as a focus on the biology, physiology of animals. Environmental biology is focusing more on the ecology. We have a lot of ecologists on campus that you can work with on this. If you want to focus on a fisheries or aquatic conservation field, like for example to work for a fisheries agency or go work at the Shedd Aquarium or another kind of aquarium, fisheries and aquatics is the way to go. We also have a strong aquaculture program. Aquaculture is the growing of fish and aquatic organisms, usually for consumption in the food world. Aquaculture is growing tremendously on the planet, and so there's a lot of jobs and opportunities in aquaculture. Pre-vet, we also have opportunities there, and pre-vet allows you to be prepared to try to get into a veterinary school. Wildlife biology is for conservation and management of wildlife, usually mammals and birds, things like that. Reptiles as well. And then there's a general zoology option, which is to train you to more or less be a general systematics or a taxonomic type person that has a strong background in just general animal studies. And there's a strong evolutionary impact to that as well. Again, if you have questions, take a look at the handout that I gave you on this, or also just come talk to me. That's what I'm here for, and we can talk about this more when we finally meet again in class at some point. We have several faculty. Again, I handed this out as part of the advisement packet, so you do have a copy of this. We have several faculty that you can work with on various types of fields. I won't go into detail on all these folks, but you need to basically look at what they do and see if you have interests that are similar to theirs. All these folks are publishing in the primary literature, so they're well known in their fields. So if you're interested in them, what you need to do is take a look at what they published, Google search them, and see what they do, whether it matches up with what your interests are. And again, it's okay if your interests change or evolve through your time here in zoology. What will happen is that you can find a new advisor if you become more interested in something. For example, you might have come here starting to work with mammals, and then you decide that you really like reptiles. You might want to switch over to a different professor on this one, and that's okay. No one's going to get their feelings hurt, and we're just trying to help you best get into your field. That's really about all I have for now. If you have specific questions, come find me or give me a call or whatever. and I'll try to help you as much as possible. Don't forget that there's the career assignment that's due. We meet again on February 5th. No class next week. And please do stop by my office or give me an email or call or whatever if you have any questions. And with that, I'll stop, and we can talk about this a little bit more detail later on. Have a good week. Bye-bye.